And people that have been sleep deprived for 12 hours, that effect on their motor skills is equivalent to drinking 1 glass of wine. I'm Bill Wisden. I'm Professor of Neuroscience here at Imperial in the Life Sciences Department, and I'm a brain scientist. And in the last 15 years, I've studied how and why we sleep.
So tell us, Bill, what actually happens in our brains when we start to feel sleepy?
Well, so that's not completely understood, and that's one of the things we work on. So as we start to become sleepy, our brain waves, that's called the electroencephalogram, they change and they become more regular and they fire in slow waves. There are biochemical changes in our brain that make us feel sleepy. So there are decreases in chemicals such as histamine, and those normally are in our top of our brain, in our cortex, keeping us awake. And as we're getting sleepy, these are withdrawn from the cortex and we pass out, for want of a better phrase, if we're good sleepers.
Now, is there any relationship between sleep deprivation and stress?
This has been done on human volunteers. Quite a lot of experiments, so I'll give you a couple of examples. One is they take human volunteers, and usually young people, they keep them awake for the night in the sleep lab, and then they're given, for example, a simulated driving test the next morning. And people that have been sleep deprived for 12 hours, that effect on their motor skills is equivalent to drinking 1 glass of wine. So that has a very direct effect on your brain. But also emotion. If you take sleep-deprived people and you ask them to mimic happy faces or unhappy faces, they often get it wrong when you're sleep-deprived for one night. So if you see a happy face, you might yourself show an unhappy face. So you misread people's emotions. More dramatically, there's something called the Trier social stress test. So again, done with human volunteers. And they have 12 hours of sleep deprivation compared with a control group. You give them the Trier social stress test, which is when they have to do mental arithmetic and give a short memorized speech in front of a mock panel of 3 people. And while they're doing that, you measure their stress hormone in their saliva, cortisol. So it's just a simple little assay. And the people that have been sleep deprived, during the interview, they have massive increase in the stress hormone compared with people that are well rested. So that shows you that sleep deprivation is affecting all aspects of our brain, from emotions to simple reflexes. How fast do I react? It's a bit like being drunk if you're sleep deprived.
That takes us to our little myth-busting
game. All right, okay.
I don't know how accurate the brain model is, maybe?
It's pretty accurate. It's missing one part of the back of the brain called the cerebellum. Very good, yes. It's missing the cerebellum and the brainstem, but the top bit is accurate.
We want to enlist your help to debunk some common misconceptions about sleep.
Yes.
And hopefully teach students how to treat sleep better.
All right, okay. When I pick one of these out, you can train your body to only require 4 to 5 hours of sleep every night. I think that is a myth. It's not true. So we all require different amounts of sleep. So some people need only 4 hours sleep a night, but they're exceptions. And others, like myself, we need 7 to 8. And there are some that need more. And there's a continuum. And so people should sleep according to how much they feel when they're rested. There's some extreme genetic cases where rare families where people only need a couple of hours sleep. But you cannot train yourself to get by on just 4 to 5 hours. Okay, it doesn't matter where and how you fall asleep as long as you get some sleep. Well, yes and no. If you're very tired, I don't see what harm there is in having a quick nap in the library. Napping in the afternoon is actually been scientifically shown to be healthy. So sometimes I take a nap, so that's a good thing. But it obviously does matter where you fall asleep if you're sleep deprived and you're driving or you're doing some very important job. That's a hazard. So it's something you can't control. You think, well, I can drive up the motorway for 4 hours, even though I haven't had any sleep. And that's when you're fighting sleep, and even against your will, you pass out. So it's a sort of yes and no question. It does matter where you fall asleep. So sometimes you can sleep at work. Some companies support napping and have sleep pods even. So I'm all in favour of that. In general, try to have sleep in your bed. Another myth or not. If you're struggling to fall asleep, just stay in bed until you do so. Myself, I think that's not a great idea. So if you can't get to sleep, best thing to do is just get up and do something else. Watch television, read, but don't lie in bed tossing and turning. Just get up, and if you can't sleep, you can't sleep. Don't torment yourself trying to get to sleep. If your body wants to sleep, it will tell you it's ready to sleep. So don't lay in bed. Get up and do something else. If you pull an all-nighter, it means party or studying, I suppose. Studying all night in the library, you can make up the lost time by sleeping longer the following night. A sort of yes and no. That is technically called sleep homeostasis, the jargon for catching up on lost sleep, and we do catch up a bit on lost sleep if we've been sleep deprived, if you've done an all-nighter. A regular habit of that is not a great idea, so it's fine. Of course, sometimes you have to go without sleep, like when you're flying you get jet lag, you also get sleep deprived, so you do catch up to some extent, but it's not a good idea to make that a habit, because then you're having chronic sleep deprivation and you never catch up on all the sleep you've lost, so you're not giving your time for your body to recover. But 1 or 2 nights, I think it's fine, especially when you're young.
So what is one idea that you want the viewers to remember from this video?
Okay, I think an important thing is to take sleep seriously. So we take diet seriously, we take exercise seriously, and like we just saw in our last myth buster, there's a temptation to say, well, I can just miss out on sleep. But actually, as a lifestyle thing for healthy living, I think I want people, all the students, to take sleep seriously. And you can't cut it out, but everyone's got a natural amount of sleep, and you should try to listen to your body and sleep.
And finally, what advice do you have for aspiring neuroscientists?
Do what you're interested in, and then things will look after you with a bit of hard work and a bit of luck. Neuroscience, as an academic discipline, is full of wide open questions. We don't know the answers to the most basic things. How do we remember something? Why do we sleep? And there are many important neurological diseases affecting society, which are getting larger. Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease. So there's a huge demand for neuroscience, but also it's just a fascinating discipline. I mean, the biggest question is, what is consciousness? Can this be replicated in AI or whatever? So pick something that you're interested in if you want to be a professional neuroscientist, whether it's just purely investigating how something works or working on a disease in a translational way. So there's so much choice that you just have to follow your gut feeling.
That's really lovely. Thank you so much for coming to our video.
Okay, thank you for interviewing me.
So I'd like you to open up our little box.
My first challenge is to get top off, all right?